So I'm Ingelöv Eriksson. I'm the municipal geologist of Oslo, and I've been having this position since May 2019. So very quickly about the city of Oslo, which is the capital of Norway, situated in the south of Norway. Everything that you see within the red line of this map of the city of Oslo is what we call the building zone, and where all the building in the city is taking place. The rest is a natural reserve area. And the population of Oslo is currently 694,000 inhabitants, and the forecast is that it will grow. But it was quite interesting when I was looking at the numbers the other day. In the last 4 months, there had actually been a reduction of 500 inhabitants in the city. So that was the first time I've seen that. Okay, going a bit fast, sorry. We have done what we call a mapping of the resources and the challenges of the geology of Oslo. And the main resource is the volume situated under the ground, used for transport infrastructure, technological infrastructure, or storage, for example. We also have some difficulties with the geology. We have quick clay, as was mentioned earlier. We have polluted soil, as most cities, or all cities, and we also have alum shale that is difficult to build in and creates polluted waste once moved. Just quickly, what information we have? We have some maps generated by the Geological Survey of Norway, like bedrock map and quaternary geology map and other geological maps. We also have some maps generated by the Norwegian Water Resource and Energy Directorate. They are also responsible for the mass movements and eventual landslides. And we also have our own, what we call underground archive, which is a semi-digitized archive with about 200,000 geotechnical drillings from various times and of various quality. And we also have a national database for geotechnical investigations, which you can see some images of here. And you can see we have a lot of boreholes in Oslo, and I would say that almost all of them are generated from our local database. And in the national database, you can only see where it has been drilled. You have to go to us to actually get the reports, and you can get the reports as PDFs. We also have newer drillings that are taking place, are mostly given into the national database. But for us as a municipality, it's a bit difficult because you need a program called GeoSwitch to actually open them up and see them, which we don't have at our which we don't have in the municipality. So some of these newer drillings and geotechnical drillings are not really available to us, but they are available to consultants, for example. We also have a groundwater database, which is an historical database with some 74,000 measurements of groundwater, and they're all taken or measured during development projects, such as tunnels or large buildings. We also now have several tunneling projects finalizing or starting up in our municipality, and they are measuring groundwater and having groundwater programs. So we are aiming to be able to collect the data from these measurement programs into this database. So it's in the working. So a little bit about how we work to get the information about the subsurface into the planning process. And we know from before that if we use the full potential of the Norwegian Planning and Building Act, future use of the subsurface in Oslo will be more efficient. But we have to do it and use the potential we have. This schematic overview shows the possibilities of the planning levels and the processes each level has to go through within the Norwegian planning legislation. This is only for municipal plans. We also have regional plans and state-induced plans. We have a municipal master plan, which is the master plan of the municipality. We can also make municipal subplans, which can be either a theme or a specific area of the municipality. We also have area zoning plans, which are smaller areas, but bigger areas than the detailed plan. So it's to get a more homogeneous development of an area. And in the end, we have building applications. Between 2013 and 2017, we had the subsurface, the underground project, which produced a report and an action plan. And the action in total has 21 actions, or some more, I'm not doing the counting right, and is built up on 4 different legs. We need to have sufficient legislation. We need to ensure availability to information and data about the subsurface. We need to manage and use the subsurface information, and we need to plan and use of urban subsurface. And the following examples I will show you will be examples of how we work with this action plan. Since 2015, we have a municipal master plan that takes the subsurface into account to a small extent. We have zones requiring special consideration. These are the red zones that you can see. And the red ones are hazards, such as flood or mass movements or derelict ground. But basically it is to ensure the volumes of future rail tunnels or existing rail and metro and road tunnels, sewage, fuel tanks, and so on and so on. What we're doing right now when it comes to strategic planning is what has felt like taking 2 steps forward, no, 1 step forward and 2 backwards. We started up an underground master plan project in 2019. We had a budget, a project group, and we're in the making of this project, which had very ambitious ideas about actually investigating the possibilities to produce a 3D plan in Oslo, which you can see some images of down here. We were also very inspired by the Finnish underground master plan. But during the summer of 2020, we had to stop the underground master plan project due to economical reasons. The funding was withdrawn. And now in November 2020, I'm coordinating an underground resource group in the land use element of the municipal master plan. So what we have done is we have downscaled the ambitions from the underground master plan project and put it in to our municipal land use element of the municipal master plan. That is in the making right now. So the timing is right, which is good. We are planning to have 6 themes: use and protection of the subsurface, groundwater, risks in the subsurface, masses, like rocks from tunnels, what do you do with it, etc., etc. Resources in the subsurface, energy from the subsurface, for example, and data and information. And data and information is the first thing that we need to do is actually investigate if our legislation admits us to have demands for data sharing of data and information in our municipal master plan. Here is just a map that is an example of what we kind of like to create on a strategic level. And this is about the possibilities or the risk for settlements. On a lower level, area zoning plan, we are working on a project to study surface water and ground conditions in urban planning. And we have been granted some 35,000 euros that we are using to digitize geotechnical information from our geotechnical archive in a very manual way, not as high-tech as we have seen in the earlier presentations. We then produce maps to use in communication with urban planners. And the good thing with this project is that we have had a cooperation with the urban planners from the start. So we've already discussed a lot of the difficulties of the ground conditions in this area, because this area is very complex. It's in the middle here is an old deposit, an old landfill from the waste of Oslo. And along here, we know that we have quick clay. And also depth to bedrock is at some places 90 meters. So it's quite an interesting area that we found here. We'll also organize workshops between urban planners and specialists and produce a library of surface water solutions in areas with difficult ground conditions. I'm not very much involved in that one. And then I'll show you some examples of 3D modeling that we have. And this, the first model I will show you is very much on the lowest level. And it is a large tunneling project that we have, Fornebubanen, which is a metro tunnel that is about 8 kilometers. And there is one BIM model for the tunnel and the surrounding geology, and there are detailed models for the stations and the similar areas. It's also worth to mention that there is a water tunnel that will cross somewhere around here, I think. There is a metro tunnel being planned to connect to here. There is a train tunnel that will come here somewhere. So there is a lot of activities in the making and in the planning in this project. The images of the model has been in production for about 3 years. And you can see on the top here, you see the tunnel in blue, and the red areas are weakness zones in the rocks. And here is a detailed view with a weakness zone that is known from other tunnels. And the blue part here on the tunnel is where it is estimated that it is needed to be completely waterproof, the tunnel construction. And the model is based on results from geotechnical investigations that exists from before, core drillings executed during the project, data from existing tunnels and old reports from those tunnels, a lot of reflection seismology, and ground investigations and field work. And I think there is an estimation that the value of this of just the field work is about 10 million euros. So it's a lot of money that has been invested in this model. I couldn't get a specific number for the geological part of the model because it's all put into one budget of the model. Some more images and some details about the programs used. And as you can see, there is a lot of different programs and such a detailed BIM model, of course. And what's interesting when I've been putting together this presentation is that we are now here in a very detailed area, and also the design, final design of the tunnel has actually been made in the making of this model, which means that in some areas, although the detailed plan has already been decided, there will be areas where the detailed plan will need to be changed due to the information collected and decision taken upon the model. But what is interesting is that the developers have different capacity to manage BIM models after construction is complete. I mean, here we have a 10-year project, but we need to start thinking about who is going to manage this BIM model after the construction is complete, and will there be geological information from the model that will not be considered interesting to keep in the model, and how do we ensure that the geological information from such a nice model is actually possible to share and reuse after the construction of the tunnel. I know there is a lot of cooperation between the projects, the tunneling projects going on, but also lifting it from above project level and seeing kind of the whole picture is striking me as very important now, and start planning for this as early as possible. We also have our geotechnical archive, as I mentioned. We have done some non-high-tech digitalization of it, created, this is 3D model that was made by Cecilia in 2015, I think. And now Nashim, who's managing our geotechnical archive, is working on another program to make models from what we have digitized. And also, I know that the new water tunnel that is being built, which is one of these tunneling projects that I mentioned earlier, will use the program Leapfrog to model geology. So basically, we have a lot of different models coming up in different programs, and that will be interesting. Just a quick idea, because from what I see in strategic planning, how much 3D modeling do we need? The easiest way to communicate a difficulty is probably by very simple maps like this one, which are the red dots are quick clay that has been that we know there are quick clay, and the orange dots are clay, just normal correct clay. So just finishing off with some Christmas wishes, we're almost there. I wish that data and models are kept, stored and made available, and I very much agree on the standardization part of this. It's important. Politicians and other decisions maker needs to see the big picture, not just project by project, but actually allow us to keep, store, and update models. And geological competence should participate in early decisions of large projects, and they are made very early. As far as I can realize, probably earlier than the municipal planning regime starts up. Thank you very much. That was all from me.